if I'm going to say this once, I said this during our back to school month, and I'm going to say this again. School threats are no joke. If you do so, you'll wind up going to jail. Even though it may be a joke to you, you're going to jail. Good evening and welcome to Give Me a Break. I'm Jonathan Carmody. In Alice, a student was detained for online threats. There's been another case of school threats happening in Alice ISD. Hasn't anyone learned?
Tonight, out of the Alice ISD, a high school student facing charges after threatening fellow students and staff. That arrest made last night by Alice PD. The school district tonight says the threats were discovered by the district's online safety management software. Alice police tonight say the student's manifesto was discovered online, prompting the arrest and the investigation. Alice ISD tonight says students and staff were never in any danger.
You may sit there and say, oh, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. It's not a joke. This is real. Remember last season, we talked about a sheriff who cracked down on school threats during 2024-25 school year? Well, needless to say, I'm with him. It is no joke. Perp-walking your child and the parents to say, hey, this is no joke. This is real. Not just after the kids, after the parents. But people just don't get the fact that, when you make a school threat or cause something to happen like this, you're gonna end up saying to yourself, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And you're exactly right. Maybe you should end up doing that because it's gonna get you into a lot of trouble. Bottom line, school threats are no joke. And neither is something like this happening. Last year, a DNA investigation found the school's science and technology Bayshore campus failed to properly update the IEP, which is an individual education plan. What is it? What's IEP? It's for students who have special needs, and it's required by law. The stories you're about to hear is one person who says no one ever reported, not even the state did. Here's Josh Maxwell.
Special education they have laws out there for a reason.
Katie and Justin Parker say they fought a long, frustrating battle to get their son Jet's individualized education plan updated. It started during the 2023-2024 school year. In April 2024, Texas Education Agency investigation found multiple violations at the School of Science and Technology Bayshore campus, where Katie worked and Jet attended. They say one incident in particular marked a turning point in his behavior.
Eventually, there became some inconsistency with routines, and that landed him a nap time in the principal's office. I was upstairs working, so when it came time for him to want to leave because he didn't understand, they locked the doors.
The report showed Jet had 15 behavior incidents, 14 for assault, and that the school knew about his issues just 2 months into the year.
Every day we were on pins and needles, watching, praying that he was not freaking out and having an accident.
Being a former special education teacher himself, Justin says this fight is personal.
There's students who, when I was teaching, I would go to the ends of the earth for, and I felt like they weren't budging, they weren't trying to meet us even halfway.
The investigation found the school failed to properly develop, review, and revise Jet's IEP. His behavior escalated to the point he was expelled. The school psychologist wrote that his behavior wasn't caused by the failure to implement his IEP, and that, even though it was a manifestation, it had no effect on the decision to remove him. But Justin sees it very differently.
So it wasn't until they started talking about expulsion that they mentioned referrals. Before, it was just behaviors like, oh, this happened, that happened.
So how important is an IEP to a student's growth? We took that question over to Ashley Fote, who is the Assistant Professor of Special Education at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi.
With the law, it is a legally binding document that is been meant to be upheld, and of course, it also might undermine that student's right to a free and appropriate public education.
Folks says in cases like this, the first step is knowing your rights, both as parents and for your child.
They can ask at any time for an IEP meeting. They can request this, that they can ask to see data, even more frequently than progress is reported.
Justin and Katie say while Jet's expulsion was reversed and the TEA did see examples of non-compliance, their view of education has been forever changed.
Him going to school, it has terrified us because we're afraid that the people aren't going to love him like that school didn't. They're not going to take care of him like that school didn't.
Now, we did reach out to the School of Science and Technology, who did give us a statement that says, quote, "We are always ready to work with parents to collaborate on solutions that best fit the needs of our students," end quote. In the report, the TEA also asked the school to submit a list of corrective actions relating to their policy.
But that probably didn't happen because because it probably didn't happen, but the evidence right there suggests that, nothing was being done. It's a huge thing in the law for IEP, especially for special needs students. That's why the goal here for every special needs student is to make sure that they get the good education they get. That's the whole bottom line. Another round of school scandals still ahead to a TikTok video that went viral with over a million views. Also, how well do you know mall food? One expert from Good Housekeeping can give you the hints and the tips on what to look for when eating mall food. All that's still ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back. A brand new season means a brand new round of school scandals that are caught on videotape, and not even one person is right. I was scrolling through TikTok, and I came across a video that showed of a student recording a student who got in trouble because, according to administrators, they say that he was being argumentative, screaming at a girl, cursing, and they wouldn't even let him call his mom until the assistant principal came in and talked to the mom. There's several parts of this video. If you look this up, I guarantee you, I will guarantee you, you may decide who's right and wrong. Take a look at the video.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Call her for what? You're gonna call her for what?
Close the door.
Now you're not gonna explain anything.
CJ,
You're gonna call her for
have
what?
a conversation in the middle of
Now you're acting all calm. You're funny. Y'all are so fake. You see the switch up?
Yeah.
I wish I was recording 2 seconds ago. So what are you guys investigating exactly? What are you guys investigating? Which is what? I was being screamed at by a girl. Why are you getting in front of me like that? I don't care. What are you gonna do? Why am I being screamed at by a girl?
Mr. Robinson to Officer Garcia.
Yeah, it was. You see this, bro? You see this? Y'all literally don't know how to do your jobs. I was being screamed at by a girl. But now I get sent down here. What's funny about this is Mr. Mr. Mattice told me that I didn't even do anything.
The next step is I'm going to SRO, and I don't want to do that.
Is what?
Get the SRO in here. I don't want to do that.
Wait, I just want to talk to him.
No.
What?
Conference room.
No. You see this, bro? Why can't I talk to him?
We're all busy.
What? No, you're not. You literally just told me you're suspending me for being screamed at by a girl.
I'm investigating.
For investigating what? What? Why can't you explain anything? Why can't you explain anything? You see this? Why can't you explain anything? This is insane. This is insanity. So you're telling me I'm suspended for a girl screaming at me?
You're going to be spent a couple of days. You're being removed from the holler.
Okay.
And
For
now
what
you-
though?
and now
I just want to know
you-
for what? What did I do?
For cursing, being argumentative, getting out of your seat.
Wasn't cursing.
Come on.
Okay. So the reason was for cursing, being argumentative, all this and that. Never cursed. got out of my seat like once or twice.
And now you're not listening to administrators, which is another problem.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you guys because you're like, you guys sound crazy. You won't let me call my mom when I just try. You're letting me now, but 10 minutes ago you weren't letting me. You were telling me that I couldn't do anything, and I was being forced to stay in here. So you guys.
The people think it's a joke.
Ago, you weren't letting me. You were telling me that I couldn't do anything, and I was being forced to stay in here. So you guys.
If he was being argumentative and being cursing, they would have had a referral being made saying that he did all of this. But the thing is, he did it. I don't know why he had to get a video camera and record and post on TikTok saying, well, you're not doing your jobs. I don't know what this was about. But, I don't know what this was about. But I'll tell you this. It's about the student's behavior. That's why referrals were in for a reason. Like, oh, like if this was a referral, you get like this child got a referral for pulling pranks. Discipline referrals would be like a whole book about what a teacher did. Like one person, like this student was being very disrespectful, cursing, calling me names, being argumentative, this, that, and the third, and then same information we call in the parents, like reading from the referral, all this, that, and the third, and then all of a sudden, we go back to square one here. What are we to do with discipline? I mean, we want safety and discipline in our schools. Not something like this would end up being to where, a child misbehaves and, it all gets caught on camera and, we go back to square one with, where a teacher punches a kid and then the kid denies it saying, well, I never hit a child. And then the parents ask, well, do you have kids? And they say, yes, I do. What would you do? And they just don't answer the question. Like, they're crazy. I mean, that's how it is. The very friendly. Okay, someone asks you a question, answer the question. But if someone asks you a rhetorical question, don't answer it. There's some questions you can answer, and there's some questions you can't answer too. It's like, what are we to do when, we don't have a right? It's like, what are we to do, It's like in a video. It was a short video. No, I mean, behavior at school, assistant principal tell them to close the door. Like, look at this.
I'm gonna call mom right now.
Do it.
I'm gonna call mom right now.
Do it.
You can close the door.
Do it. Call her for what? You're gonna call her for what?
Close the door,
Now you're not gonna explain anything.
CJ.
You're gonna call her for what?
And then this was the other video. I mean, this is the whole video. Watch this.
I'm just gonna record you.
I'm gonna call mom right now.
Do it.
You can close the door.
This was the whole video.
Do it. Call her for what? You're gonna call her for what?
Close the door,
Now you're not gonna explain anything.
CJ.
You're gonna call her for
have
what?
a conversation in the middle of
Now you're acting all calm. You're funny. Y'all are so fake. You see the switch up? I wish I was recording 2 seconds ago. So what are you guys investigating exactly? What are you guys investigating?
Behavior and all up.
Which is what? I was being screamed at by a girl.
Go back down.
Why are you getting in front of me like that?
Go back down.
I don't care. What are you gonna do? Why am I being screamed at
Let's do this.
by a girl?
Mr. Robinson to Officer Garcia.
Yeah, it was. You see this, bro? You see this? Y'all literally don't know how to do your jobs.
Just call him.
I was being screamed at by a girl. But now I get sent down here. What's funny about this is Mr. Mr. Matice told me that I didn't even do anything.
The next step is going to be yes or no, and I don't want to do that.
Is what?
Yes or no here. I don't want to do that.
Wait, I just want to talk to him.
No.
Why?
Conference room.
No. You see this, bro? Why can't I talk to him?
We're all busy.
Why? No, you're not. You literally just told me you're suspending me for being screamed at by a girl.
I'm investigating.
For investigating what?
Come on.
Why? Why can't you explain anything?
No, listen, no.
Why can't you explain anything? You see this? Why can't you explain anything? This is insane. This is insanity. So you're telling me I'm suspended for a girl screaming at me?
You're going to be spent a couple days for being removed from the holler.
Okay. Cool.
And
For
now
what
you're-
though?
and now
I just want to
you're-
know for what. Like, what did I do?
For cursing, being argumentative, getting out of your seat.
Wasn't cursing.
Come on.
Okay. So the reason was for cursing, being argumentative, all this and that. Never cursed. got out of my seat like once or
And
twice.
now you're not listening to administrators, which is another problem.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you guys because you guys sound crazy. You won't let me call my mom when I just try. You're letting me now, but 10 minutes ago you weren't letting me. You were telling me that I couldn't do anything and I was being forced to stay in here. So, you guys...
So that's the whole video. You get the point here? There's the point being made, That's how it all is, They won't let you call your parents, but they let you do now. This is how we know discipline is done, because, he was being supported. If they investigated this, they would have found any wrongdoing. So, if you're being disciplined, don't record it. If you feel like they did something wrong, then fight for your rights. That's all I gotta say. Well, over the summer, you may have heard about the new cell phone bill that was put in place. You've heard me talk about it on our Back to School Month. Up next, like I said on the Back to School Month, some things that I've said on that Back to School Month are going to be the same things I've said as we start Premiere Week, as we get to Premiere Week. So please stay with us. Now on to House Bill 1481. If you don't know House Bill 1481, it's a bill that Governor Greg Abbott signed into law prohibiting students from using their phones in the classroom. Now, when that bill was announced, a lot of parents, a lot of people went on TikTok in anger, voicing their own frustrations, their own opinions, saying, what if there's a school shooter? Like, what if all this, that, and the third? In just a few minutes, we're going to show you a little clip from a conference back in Amarillo that showed Greg Abbott signing that bill and the reason why he wants that bill being put in place. But a lot of parents are all in frustration saying, what if there's a school shooter? Or what if I need to know my child's safe? Or what if I need to know the doctor's appointment? A lot of parents don't understand about House Bill 1481. So before we get into that, let's take a look at a couple clips from these people that are just in anger.
I just gotta say this. Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, and all you other assholes that are over at the Texas Capitol that just voted for kids to not be able to have cell phones last Sunday. I hope you remember that. Well, it's kind of messed up. Why is it messed up? You're always, kids need to focus. They need to stay on track. But let's not forget that last year we had 24 shootings in 2024. The highest amount of shootings this whole nation saw. School shootings. Because kids, they had active shooters on site. And the only way that they could get a hold of somebody was through their cell phones. But you want to make it a rule that they can't have their cell phones on because why? They need to focus in school. What about calling their parents and let them know they're safe? Well, you have to have their phones in a safe, secure location. You guys don't give a crap about kids. You get nothing. It's their lifeline. ET phone home, something's gone wrong. But no, you'd rather just, what? What are you doing away with this for? Why can't kids have their cell phones? Oh, because maybe they're cheating, right? But you do nothing about pew-pew control in the schools to protect them. You're just going to hire more police officers, so what, that they'll run? Remember Uvalde? Those cops didn't even get involved. Kids had to call their parents. They had to call the police. Let them know there's a school shooter on site. Massive floodings in on their phone systems. Oh, there's a school shooter on site. You want to do away with their phones. And while everybody was all worried about the SB3, legal hemp in Texas, we want to be able to enjoy ourselves. This got signed into office. Got signed into the bills. And now he's got a special session on the books. And everybody's like, oh, they're gonna try to take away SB3 again. It's not even about that. It's about redistricting. They're putting into play everything that they could take away. Redistricting Texas so that they stay a Republican state. So that they can keep pushing this thing, like taking away rights from us, taking away our kids, their livelihoods, but they'll do not one damn thing about gun control. Not one damn thing. And my son was worried about that yesterday. He explained to me how, what if there's a school shooter, Dad? How will I get a hold of you? What, am I going to have to just get on the news while I'm at work? I'd rather him be able to have his phone to call me. But ChatGPT's doing their homework for him. Fuck you. Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on Texas for, taking away rights. There is a reason for that. Like I said, I reposted this video saying, how, because we want to be number one in Texas. And, over the summer, the governor signed that law. The governor signed that phone, so
I got hooked on fent.
during the summer, during the summer, he went to Amarillo for a conference. A lot of people were there in Amarillo just to sign that bill. Not just the cell phone bill. There's also another bill that was in the books. The whole reasoning for, the cell phone law is because to prevent distractions in the classroom. People have loopholes, Can I go to the bathroom? Just get their phones and do little bathroom selfies. Kids are clever, They'll look at the law and find loopholes. Having a cell phone bill is, how would I picture this? Here's what it'd be like. It'd be like going trick-or-treating. A child goes trick-or-treating. And you're the person getting out candy. And yet you try to figure out what to do. What are we going to do? Oh, let's give them some vegetables. Trick or treat. Here's some mashed potatoes. Here's some mashed potatoes. Here's some meatloaf. Stop crying. Open your bag. Stop crying. It's good for you. Don't you mind? I'll spill it all over your soup. And here's some extra mashed potatoes for you. And for you. Here's some mashed potatoes. Here's some mashed potatoes. Here's some mashed potatoes. Here's some green beans. Here's some carrots. It's good for you. Get out of here. That's what it's like, Take away people's rights. Take a look at this.
Students to focus on learning, while our policy has helped students to focus on learning while at school and supported our teachers to manage their classrooms better. Representative Fairley, congratulations on your bill. We are eager to continue working with you on behalf of the students, parents, and taxpayers of Amarillo. And Governor Abbott, Speaker Burrows, Chairman Buckley, thank you again for being here. We are honored by your presence. We hope you can see that our educators, our parents, and our community are all invested in the success of our students and the health of our public schools. We are grateful for your partnership, and we hope to welcome you back to Amarillo ISD in the near future. Thank you very much.
With Okta, we're fast and safe.
And it just cuts to ads. So while the ads are running, let me talk a little about, what I've been talking about, Like I said before, what I said on here, on our back to school one, is the same stuff I'm going to say it's the same I'm going to say tonight. So if you're not noticed, it's House Bill 1481, the cell phone bill, which Governor Greg Abbott signed, to help prevent distractions to our educational process.
Listen, I want to thank you for your kind words, and I want to thank everybody for being out here today. We are here today to sign several pieces of legislation that Representative Fairley had a pivotal role to play in. Before I get to that, however, let me mention two other topics. One is, some of you may know that over the past couple of days, the state of Texas has issued weather warnings for this region to expect maybe heavy rainfall, maybe even some hail later on today. Monitoring the weather on my way in, it looked like the storm was headed this way. It was around in the northern New Mexico, northeast New Mexico area. There is some heavy rain down in the Lubbock region as we speak, and later on today. Bottom line is this: when we see what can happen with weather, we don't take any chances. We want to be prepared. The Texas Division of Emergency Management has provided water rescue boats and other equipment to all the various regions across the entire state of Texas that could be impacted by heavy rain here in the coming 24 to 48 hours, including in the greater Amarillo area. As we've seen with other weather events like what happened down in the Kerrville area, it's hard to predict precisely where the weather may hit. So we can station resources in advance in the Amarillo area, knowing that we will be able to get them immediately to whatever area may be heavily affected. Along those lines, also is very important to point out that Speaker Burrows, as well as members of both the House and the Senate, had hearings in Kerrville yesterday to address the ongoing needs of everybody affected by the floods, not just in that region, but also the deadly floods that occurred in central Texas, ranging all the way up to San Angelo, Texas. This is a flood episode of the most extreme proportions, meaning the worst ever in the history of the state of Texas, especially as it concerns the number of lives lost. And we are working on legislation as we speak right now in a special session to make sure that the needs of all of those people affected by those floods are going to be addressed, but while doing so, also make sure that the needs of emergency response in every region going forward will be met also. It was Kerrville this year. It could be Amarillo next year. We don't know. What we do know is this: we have to be prepared. Second thing I want to talk about generally, and then I will plug in legislation that Representative Fairley was heavily involved in. I'm the only governor in the history of Texas to talk about Texas working to become ranked #1 in educating our children. To be #1, which we are in so many categories, to be #1 requires more than just a talking point. It requires far more than just an aspiration. It requires detailed strategies and then working to achieve those strategies. And there are several components of that, some of which we passed during the session. One is ensuring that every parent is going to be fully empowered to be involved in their child's education and choose the pathway that's best for their child. And that's why we passed the largest Day 1 school choice program in the history of the United States of America. The leader of that was Brad Buckley right over here. Brad, why don't you step forward a little bit and wave your hand, let them see who you are. But I'm calling on you again right now because school choice is a component of part of the puzzle pieces to make sure we become #1. Another component is to make sure that our public schools are fully funded. And we achieve that goal by providing more than $8 billion to fully fund our public schools this past year. And again, Representative Brad Buckley was the chair and leadership of that effort. And then another part of the stepping stones to ensure that we're going to be the best state for educating our kids is to attract and keep the best and brightest teachers. Having excellent teachers in the classroom, they achieve far more with regard to getting the best out of our students and better educating our students. And to be able to attract and to retain those teachers, we passed the largest teacher pay raise in the history of Texas this session to get those teachers. And then there's another part that
when the road gets rough.
So that's the other part to it.
is so important to the future of education, but so important to the future of the United States of America. And that is education programs like AmTech Career Academy. Career and technology education programs are vital in the state of Texas, vital in the United States for two purposes. One, they are so important to the students. A lot of students want to go on to a four-year college, but a four-year college is not right for everybody. What a lot of students realize when they're in high school, they realize that they really like a certain area of career and technology that is going to lead to a very good paying job. It could be a welding job, an electrician job, or it could be a job fixing automobiles. Like I saw before coming in here, I got kind of a tour of some of the things that were going on in this college. But there's something else going on that's sweeping across the world as we speak right now that raises a lot of concerns among a lot of people about what's going to happen to all these jobs. And that issue is artificial intelligence, advanced technology. There are some stories that, in my opinion, that they provide false information about what it's going to do to jobs. They talk as though it's going to eliminate jobs, which it will eliminate some, but in the aggregate, it's going to add more jobs. Let me give you one quick example and then a detail. The one quick example is this. We live in a time today where we're in the most advanced technology in the history of the United States of America, and yet, even though we have the most advanced technology, we have one of the lowest unemployment rates ever in the history of America. As we continue to advance rapidly in the implementation of artificial intelligence and things go along with it like robotics, we're going to see that some jobs that exist right now are going to be taken over by artificial intelligence. But at the very same time, there's going to be new kinds of jobs. They're going to be more interesting. They're going to pay even more money for our students. And many of those are being taught here or worked on right here on this campus. But one thing that is taught here on this campus for students at all the Amarillo schools that want to come here and work on it is robotics. Robotics is one of these next generation jobs that's going to be in extraordinary demand. And that extraordinary demand is being learned right here, and the students that learn that right here are going to be taking that skill set going into some future job that's going to pay far more than maybe some other job they could get. Another one is understand the room we're in right now is used for drone competitions. Drones are going to be, as far as are going to be used prolifically, they are used prolifically already. And that proliferation is only going to continue. Students right here in Amarillo are getting high-level exposure to next-generation technology of drones that will use things like artificial intelligence, as well as coding and other components of what they learn in education. They're going to lead to not only high-paying jobs, but essential jobs for the future. So yes, the world's going to change a little bit in the types of jobs that are available. But the education process that we provide our students changes at the same time. It ensures that Texas, by getting kids in Amarillo trained on robotics, trained on drones, ensure that component of keeping Texas, or putting Texas on a pathway to being ranked number one is going to be met. And so I want to, and I think we shall all give it up to AmTech Career Academy for the great job that they do. We also have with us today someone who was a senator at the time that the legislation we're about to talk about went into place. But after the session was over, he is now taken over as the acting comptroller and running to be the next comptroller for the state of Texas, and that is Kelly Hancock right here, acting comptroller of the great state of Texas. Now to this legislation. And again, to keep it in the same context I was talking about what Texas needs to do to be on the pathway to rank number one in education. And I listed several things required for that. Let me add one more. One more is that if we're going to be number one, it's going to require the undivided attention of our students in the classroom. Right now, the way that classrooms operate, the attention of our students is taken in a lot of different directions, in part because of the cell phone in their hand, in the pocket of the purse, or whatever the case may be. Educators and researchers have raised concerns about the impact that smartphones have on student learning and student engagement. Teachers report that phones are a persistent source of distraction in the classroom.
I got hooked on fentanyl.
A persistent distraction in the classroom. When we return, the governor signs the bill. So we've just heard about what Texas needs to do to rank number one. That is the undivided attention of all the kids. Now the governor's signing the bill. Let's take a look.
Teachers report that phones are a persistent source of distraction in the classroom. They hinder instruction time and they undermine academic performance. Well, your own leader right here from Amarillo, Caroline Fairley, led the way in writing a bill that addresses those concerns. Thank you, Representative Caroline Fairley, for getting legislation to my desk. It is House Bill 1481 that she worked on along with I think Senator Creighton, and I'll say it shortly. Let me just briefly describe what it does, and we'll sign it here in a second. It requires all public schools to restrict cell phone use by students during the school day. It gives, however, school districts flexibility to establish policies that meet the unique needs of their particular district. We know in Austin, Texas, we can't pass a one-size-fits-all program that's going to work in Amarillo as well as McAllen at the same time. So we're giving a level of flexibility to Amarillo ISD to be able to make sure that they're going to be able to maintain policies that keep phones out of the hands of students during instruction time, but also knowing that certain parents will have needs, certain students will have needs, and the school may have certain needs, all of which the school board will be able to address. So once again, I want to thank Representative Fairley and Senator Creighton for their work on that bill, which I'll sign in 1 second. I'm going to sign two together. Another one is one that Representative Fairley also worked on. Also, it involves our children and phones, but addresses it from a different direction. One thing that we're very concerned about with students is, again, their time and focus in classes, but also their mental health and their personal health and what's happening to them, especially what's happening to them by exposure, not only to use of a cell phone, but by things like social media. Experts have explained that smartphones and social media affect the mental health of children. It can become highly addictive. It can subject children to adult contact and even sexual exploitation. Those are just some of the reasons why the legislature passed Senate Bill 2420. It's also known as the App Store Accountability Act. It requires app stores like the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, to verify users' age when creating an account. Parental consent must be obtained before a minor can download an app or make an in-app purchase. What this does, it rightfully restores power back to parents over what their children are doing. To give you a feel for how important this is, not just in Texas, but nationally, some of the groups that weighed in and said that we needed to get this bill passed included not just the Texas Medical Association, the Texas Pediatric Association, but also the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. I want to thank Senator Paxton as well as Representative Fairley for getting this legislation to my desk. And now, let me sign these laws. House Bill 1481 and Senate Bill 2420 are now the law of the great state of Texas.
You see those smiles right there? Everyone's applauding, but not everyone likes it. You know, CCISD has even implemented fines, like, you know, $5, $10, $15 fines, up to $15. You know, back when I was in school, if you're currently using your phone, it would cost you $15 to get it back. But then 11 years ago, we had the BYOD, which is bring your own device, which means you can bring your computer, cell phone, whatever. You can use it before school, during past periods, during lunch, after school, or if the teacher gives you permission. So, there's a lot more I want to say about this, even show you some clips, but we're going to save that for next time. But coming up, we do have another story for you. Do you eat the mall food? Even with Thanksgiving fast approaching, coming up, some good tips with good housekeeping that could even save you some calories and hitting the gym. Lynn Canning with a Good Housekeeping exclusive. Stay with us. If law and law would allow me, we would do a giveaway segment about this next story that would even make you hungry. With the holiday season fast approaching, which is Thanksgiving, you're thinking about something by the mall to get stuff for pre-Christmas or get some Christmas decorations. But you rest your weary bones and head off to the food court for some chow. But not so fast. You think I'm going to go to the mall tomorrow? Not so fast. There could even be some things you don't know about the food that you eat. Are there any healthy options that you can get? You're about to meet an expert who says, yes, there is. Here's Lynn Cannon with tonight's Give Me a Break Dateline Good Housekeeping exclusive.
You may be one of the millions of shoppers that hit the mall this holiday season. You decide to get something to eat. You want to eat healthy. But can you? Sometimes there are just as many choices of food as there are stores. Chinese, Italian, Mexican.
If you choose carefully, at almost any place in the mall, you can get a pretty decent meal.
Delia Hammock is the nutrition director at the Good Housekeeping Institute. She surveyed food at 23 malls in 7 states for an upcoming article. She found what you see isn't always what you get. For instance, many people who are watching their weight think Chinese food, full of vegetables, rice, and chicken, is the best bet.
Chinese food is much less grease. I feel very healthy.
Well, think again.
Most entrees in a Chinese restaurant in the mall have about 60 to up to 80% of their calories from fat. Very high, because a lot of things are stir fried, and some of them are deep fat fried before they're stir fried.
Wow, very shocking.
And what about those vegetable wraps?
Wraps are very big now, because they'll have some sort of lettuce or vegetables in the wrap, and it looks very, very healthy.
So what would you choose? A veggie fajita wrap or a plain burger?
Definitely another burger fattening. I highly love the fajita.
Wrong.
This one is really, can fool you quickly, probably has cheese added to it.
There's some sour cream, it looks like.
And so what you're getting, it has as many calories as a hamburger.
It is shocking. I wouldn't think that they were the same.
The bottom line, just because something has vegetables doesn't always mean it's the healthier choice, especially when it's loaded with oil, cheese, and sour cream. And many people think low-fat yogurt is better than ice cream. Can't go wrong with that, right? Not necessarily.
A lot of people will say, well, I'm going to get the low-fat or fat-free yogurt and then get the giant size. And that is so much larger than just a regular scoop of ice cream, then they may be getting more calories total than they would have gotten if they got the regular ice cream.
So there's defeating the purpose by eating more of the healthy stuff.
Exactly.
Just because something is low-fat doesn't mean you can eat all you want. Now that you know the potential pitfalls of low-fat foods, here's one last test. Which do you think has fewer calories? This low-fat hot fudge sundae or a plain large pretzel?
Absolutely, pretzel. Pretzel all the way.
Wrong again. No butter, no anything, and you say that it has almost as many calories as this hot fudge sundae.
It's just about the same because the pretzel is so large.
No.
That's right.
So if you want to make the healthiest choice when eating at the mall, stay away from deep-fried and stir-fried foods. Watch out for toppings like cheese. And cut out tuna and chicken salad sandwiches. They're loaded with mayonnaise.
Sliced chicken sandwich would be a good choice. And ham is often pretty lean, too.
Eat plain burgers, steamed rice and vegetables, salads with dressing on the side. So it's not impossible to eat healthy at the mall if you're as picky with your food as you are with your shopping.
Steamed chicken and vegetables with white rice. Little soy sauce on top.
If you're still stuck on the thought of a sandwich without mayo, Good Housekeeping's nutrition director has a tip. Use an interesting bread like whole wheat or rye, which will add texture and taste, and healthy toppings like jalapeno or red peppers, onions, or cucumbers. You can find more information about healthy eating at the mall in the December issue of Good Housekeeping on the newsstands tomorrow.
Yeah, if we did a second look Saturday for Give Me a Break, I would have Alyssa Lamb take a day off, take a Saturday off, help me film this Give Me a Break segment from the mall, and that'd be her second look. If she's watching this, she'll laugh. Well, that's probably a good idea, but nah, I don't want to break the mall rules. They won't let me film in the mall. Even then, I get kicked out for like filming an arcade machine or hacking the arcade machine or sliding on over, let me drive like Greg Holland. Boom, 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 boom. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. Guns, music, peer pressure. Guns, music, and peer pressure, just to name a few. And bullying, too. Guns, peer pressure, bullying, and music. We're talking about what happens when these school shootings happen. I mean, it's the video games. You know, we got, like we talked about last season, Grand Theft Auto. It's the guns, it's the video games, the lyrically music. I mean, later in the season, we're going to look into a report by Stone Phillips about heavy metal music. But do we need to look more into this? Into the mind of a child like we did last season? Well, one 13-year-old decided to open fire because all the peer pressure in video games and the bullying that's going on. So, can anything be done? Here's Victoria Corderi.
I guess it's just because you so quiet. Baby, I don't care.
40 years ago, moves like these were considered outrageous. And in some states, this was too racy for radio. But today, Elvis has a stamp of approval from the federal government. And no one really cares whom little Susie wakes up with. This is the music causing concern these days. The aggressive sounds and ghoulish images, disturbing lyrics of Marilyn Manson and the lesser-known German bands Rammstein and KMFDM. The students responsible for last April's massacre at Columbine High School reportedly were fans of this so-called goth and industrial rock, a website that authorities believe belonged to one of the gunmen, Eric Harris, even contained lyrics from KMFDM. Dark words that seem to foreshadow their final act of madness. Born to kill, I am your apocalypse, and what I don't like, I waste.
It's impossible to know for sure if shocking music played a role in the Littleton massacre, but it is part of the culture of rage so many are worried about. What used to be considered fringe music has now gone mainstream, largely because big corporations are distributing and promoting it. And that has some parents and politicians wondering if these companies should take responsibility for what they're putting in the record stores and ultimately into a youngster's head.
We're creating an environment in which we're bombarding our children with violent and very dangerous images.
Charlie Gilreath is a music industry insider. He spent the first 15 years of his career working with writers and producers for top-selling artists, such as Whitney Houston and the gangster rap group Bone Thugs and Harmony. He says he has a pretty good idea why there's so much shocking music in the marketplace today.
I have sat in on marketing meetings where somebody has said to me, oh, this isn't shocking enough, this doesn't piss anybody off. We need controversy to sell records, and I want this to be controversial.
How would you respond to record executives who would say, you know what, you don't get it. We're signing these acts because they're talented, because they're creative, because they're good.
The record industry executives would like to believe they're cultivating art. This is actually something that's based on commercial success.
Counterculture music has been popular among the young for years, but Gilreath says that today the images distributed by major record companies have never been so punishing, nor the ideas so corrupt. Earlier this year, a record label owned by corporate powerhouse EMI released music like
So we're going to read this lyrics, then we're going to continue on. Because I muted it because I don't want to get copyrighted. Make 'em bleed is the motto that I live by. If you blank with me, it's a must you die.
The second largest music distributor in the country, Warner, has this.
It's something like this. Like I said, I muted it because of copyright. I'm a fist of rage. I'm a razor blade slitting through a wrist of hate.
And the top distributor in the country, Universal, had this song.
And like I said, I muted it. Okay. I stab people 4 or 5. I stab people 4 or 5 people every day. I stabbed him. Stabbed his nurse and blanking cat. Stabbed him, stabbed them, all like that.
You believe that romantic music can make you more romantic. Why can't you believe there's a persuasive power to negative music?
Most people aren't predisposed to violence.
I think that's absolutely right, and I think we're not talking about most people here. I don't think the world is worried about what the masses are doing. I think we're really worried about what the fringe are doing and how this is affecting them and how many more children are moving towards the fringe.
But can repeated exposure to violence in music actually inspire violence? No studies have proven a link, and some say the notion is absurd.
Millions of people may hear the same song, but only one person is going to go out to do a schoolyard shooting. That young person has a troubled life.
Hillary Rosen is the president of the Recording Industry Association of America. She says that music may reflect society's violence and despair, but it's not a cause.
If somebody's predisposed to violence, there's no way that an artist or a record is going to be able to change that equation.
Why do mainstream music companies distribute music with very violent lyrics in the first place? What value is there in it?
Record companies don't distribute lyrics. First of all, we support artists. So artists have things to say, and sometimes what they say is unpleasant. The most important test, I think, is that there's some credibility to the art, and we're very careful about that.
The argument is that it is gratuitous.
You can define gratuitous differently. There is going always to be a debate about what's art.
But can you understand how a lot of parents, a lot of adults, would listen to or look at the lyrics like, I stab people, 4 or 5 people every day. I stabbed him, stabbed his nurse, stabbed his blanking cat, stabbed them all like that. What gives?
You know, stories are ugly. There are a lot of ugly stories in this world, and I think that the problem is that we're not always going to like what we hear.
Rosen says that if adults object to an album, they don't have to buy it. As for kids, she says, it's up to parents to monitor their listening habits.
If, you know, a young person is attracted to a story that is really ugly or angry or out there, something else is going on in that kid's life.
Rosen acknowledges that all music is not appropriate for all kids, and that's why she says the industry adopted the Parental Advisory Program.
We're not pulling surprises on people, that the music is very clearly marked.
The argument is the stickers can be a badge of honor, that the parents really don't get the stickers, and the kids look for the stickers because therein lies provocative lyrics.
What young people are attracted to in music is the same thing you and I are attracted to. We're attracted to the music and to the artists. The stickers are a tool for parents.
Gilreath, among others, says that's not enough. That's why he founded the Family Entertainment Guide, an online magazine which publishes lyrics and helps parents find out what's in the music their kids are listening to. If they find the music acceptable, they can purchase it online. If not, they can intervene. Even the federal government is getting involved in this hot-button issue. After Littleton, President Clinton held a summit with leaders of the film, video game, and music industries. And soon after, he commissioned a study examining whether those industries market violence to children.
The time has come to show some restraint, even if it has a short-term impact on the bottom line.
It will be almost 2 years before the study is completed. Until then, the debate is sure to continue about what happens when troubling music connects with troubled minds.
Young people really are very smart about these issues, and people, I think, don't give teenagers enough credit here. They understand that artists, whether it's music or film or television, that they understand the difference between acting and real life.
Should record company executives be thinking about Littleton when they make a decision about signing an artist or putting out a record?
I would hope so. People at these record companies it's not a faceless corporation. This is made up of individuals within companies who have the right to make a decision and say, I don't want to have part to that.
Still ahead.
It's not a faceless corporation. This is made up of individuals within companies who have the right to make a decision and say, I don't want to have part to that.
I don't want a part to that. But nobody wants a part to all the music that's going on. I mean, violence, video games, movies, peer pressure. That's what caused those school shootings. I mean, for instance, would you want to buy your child Greg Holland Exception to the Rule back in 1997? Or maybe another Greg Holland CD back in 1994, Let Me Drive? Turns out you probably can. But is there a parental advisory on these CDs? Or even on these 2 Tim McGraw CDs? Of course not. Because it's really good, appropriate music for a lot of people at all ages. If you look close, if there's no sticker on it, then yeah, you can definitely buy it for your child. But what about the lyrics? That's the most important. That is the most important key here to this whole situation here. If your child's interested in music, it has to be age appropriate. Remember the episode of Super Nanny where the mom lets her child listen to the MP3 player? There were some explicit songs on there that she's listening to. We wouldn't play them, then I'll get copyright infringement. So, when you buy a CD like this, you expect for it to have some like good words on it. So, you'd open up the floppy pamphlet. About that. And then you will not only find, and, it will look something like this. You probably won't see the lyrics on here, but this is the song title, and this is all the lyrics up here and up here and right here. So You have to look at the lyrics. How would you know if it's even explicit? You would have to buy. I mean, if you want to know the lyrics to the whole song, you'd have to buy the song. You have to buy the whole album. Because back then, you'd have to, like, you know, look up lyrics on the internet for stuff like this. Or in any case scenario, or in a worst case scenario, you'd have to. I don't know if you remember the episode of King of the Hill, so it'd be like
Bounty is 2 times more absorbent, so you can get more.
If like this was King of the Hill, where Hank's trying to get Bobby to listen to age-appropriate music, that's the red flag, and that's the example should be followed by. So let's listen to a clip.
When I was your age, we had these things called songs. They were 2-minute stories about people falling in love or burning down Georgia. But I guess Hollywood decided we needed more criminals yelling about their lady friend's baby place. Did you pick out your new album? Whoa, red flag, Bobby. I have been advised to listen to this record.
Hey, bud. So if you look at this sticker, you think that sticker may be a stamp fool with your child, but it's a good tool for you parents out there to use. Even if you don't understand that sticker right there, it's a good thing that your child, you don't understand the important music your child is listening to. So if your child wants to be interested in music, it has to be age appropriate. If you're going to buy a child's first album, make sure it does not have that sticker on it. If it doesn't have a sticker, you're good to go. If it does have a sticker on it, then you need to ask some questions. That's why the people at the counter have, a prior knowledge. Or look up some stuff that your son's listening to. Look up the lyrics on the internet. And then you as a parent can make the decision. Okay, is this a good music for my child, or is it bad music for my child? If it's bad for your child, there are alternatives. Find an alternative type of music your child wants to listen to, and then if they're interested, okay. If not, and they say, "Oh, I hate you, get out of my life, get the fuck out of my face," and slam the door in your face. Well then, unhinge the doors, take everything away. Commando parenting right there, buddy. That's commando parenting. And that's all for this edition of Game Break Wednesday going to Thursday. We'll see you again for Game Break Friday. Follow us here on YouTube and give me a break. Stop bullying, speak up. Concentration, not strength. Actually, you know what? Going back to, unhinging the doors, what I basically said was they don't like the recommendation. It's like if they say, "Oh, I hate you, how could you do this to me? You're ruining my life." Slam the door, and then you find me like, "He slammed the door on me." You what? Open this door. You slamming doors now? No. You pay rent here? No. You pay bills here? Do you pay bills? I can't even say with a straight face. Do you pay bills here? Do you pay for food here? No. Unhinge the doors. Zip, zip. Give me that door. Yeah. Have this door back when you learn to improve your behavior. Yeah. You'll never get it back. You want to have music in your kids' lives, it has to be age appropriate. If your child doesn't like to have music recommended, well, take away everything. Take away electronics. Do whatever you need to. That sticker right there is not just a gold silver approval. It's a tool. Not a toy, a tool. Parental advisory, explicit lyrics. If that sticker's on there, know about it. Even if the people at the register don't even know what they're talking about, you can look up lyrics on the internet for your child's music. I please recommend good country music. Even the ones that are not explicit. The ones that are explicit, because there are some country songs that are explicit. I would monitor what your child's listening to. Not only monitor what your child's listening to, but what your child's watching, and what they're playing. We talked about, ESRB system. We talked about music. We talked about violence in our television. Monitor what your kids are doing and protect them. That's the bottom line. Protect your kids. And now, that's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Wednesday, going to Thursday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Fridays. We end premiere week. Stop bullying, speak up. Concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. Take care of yourself and each other, now and always. Autism is not a disability. It's your superpower. And I'm here for you. Good night.